Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of our What No You Explain episode, Tournament of Champions. I'm your host up in the booth, Braden Thorvaldson. We're just over halfway through our first round of competition, and there's still so much trivia tussling to come. They've changed the locks here at Madison Square Garden, but with a deftly applied bobby pin, we are back and ready to go tonight. Anyways, we've got a heck of a matchup tonight, as my first guest goes up against the first other person I brought on to make the podcast what it is today, the multi-million-dollar dynasty. It's Dawar versus Craig. It's a tale of podcaster versus podcast editor, a tale as old as time, or at least as old as me forgetting to put on a pop filter on my microphone before recording an episode. We are going to head on down to one of our two ringside reporters who is standing by with Dawar right now. Braden? Thanks, Braden. I'm here right now with Dawar, who is wearing two pieces of his famed three-piece suit, and to avoid any particular issues, the part he is missing is a jacket. Dawar, I know that in the first round you want to start off strong, so have you done any extra preparation for this bout?
Yes, I did. I slept like a monster and I read a book. It's what I did.
You know what? I was just going to say good sleep hygiene is very important, and it's a thing that we support here at What No You Explain. And again, as our listeners well know, you have a YouTube show and a podcast called A Conversation with a Friend, where you have deep conversations with many of your good friends and people that you want to get to know better. Do you feel that your insightful nature may help pierce the veil of some of these questions?
Nope, it just makes Craig a little more intimidating to me, but I wish that was the case.
Well, I was just going to say I appreciate that I appreciate you stating bluntly that your past podcasting experience will be of absolutely no use to you. So good luck tonight, Dawar, and we'll head on over to the other side with Craig, who is talking with our other reporter. Braden? Thanks, Braden. I'm here with Craig, who has in fact brought his own audio equipment with him, which I consider just being well prepared. So, Craig, even with your previous experience on the show, this is a bit of a departure from the usual format. Have you done any extra preparation for the match tonight?
I've done about 75 pull-ups and about 10 push-ups, and then I had about 2 roast chickens over the last 2 days.
You know, that is entirely fair. Protein loading and upper body workouts are by and large, pretty significant part of any trivia or sort of sitting down preparation. Bobby Fischer ate 3 roast chickens before every match. Is that a lie? Is that the truth? Well, that's the game. So, we'll find out. So again, of course, Craig, as our viewers know, there is no show without you. So do you think that this familiarity with the source material may help you? Or do you think the host still may be able to throw a curveball every now and again?
I think the host is capable of any curveball at any now and then, because I remember the last time we did this, basically the entire thing was a curveball, in my opinion. I'm not expecting anything easy tonight.
Well, the host doesn't throw a mean knuckleball once every now and again. So I would say, and again, thanks very much, Craig, and good luck tonight. We are going to throw on over to the announcer who seems just about ready to start the battle. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, others of all ages, the third matchup of the What No You Explain tournament is about to begin. We have a knockdown fight that's out of sight with two opponents not willing to take any slights. In the red corner, coming in with one video series, 14 episodes, and priceless amounts of beneficial social interaction, it's the Smash Bros. Slammer, the conversational chess master, the Mortal Kombat maniac himself. It's Dawar.
Ooh.
And in the blue corner, coming in with 2 seasons edited of this podcast and God knows how many hundreds of hours of audio elsewhere, it's the EQ Equivocator, the qualified Quebecois, and a genuine good egg. They call him Craigie Murda. It's Craig Murdoch.
Tonight, my name's Craigie Trivia.
Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, Craig, you get to pick. I would say you get to pick first of our 5 categories: celebrity names, sun, sand, history, and maniacs, part 2, dead presidents and those around them, the warmest place with ice in the name, and of course, the grab bag.
What's the grab bag?
The grab bag.
Do it.
What does that even mean?
Do it and we'll find out.
Do you want to choose it and find out?
I'm going to throw a curveball at you and go for the second one, the part 2 thing.
Sun, Sand, History, and Maniacs Part 2.
Exactly.
Right. These are, of course, ancient Greek-related truths and lies. Statement number 1. According to Herodotus, the author of the first history book, that when Xerxes, ruler of Persia, invaded Greece with his army, he had to build pontoon bridges, which were destroyed by a storm before they could be completed. Xerxes was so angry about this that he had every engineer that worked on the project beheaded, and sent soldiers down to the sea to whip it 300 times for its failure to obey him and comply with his plans. There is no word on whether or not the corporal punishment worked on the sea. Statement number 2. Tiberius Claudius Drusus died in AD 20 from asphyxiation when he tossed a pear in the air and caught it with his mouth, but part of it got stuck in his windpipe. Now, that is an unfortunate circumstance by any means, but there was one thing that made this situation even worse. He was the eldest son of the Roman Emperor Claudius. Therefore, if something killed him, there had to be an example made. And an example made there was. The pear tree was put on trial, found guilty of murder, and then destroyed. Statement 3. When Emperor Nero was declared an enemy of the state of Rome in 68 AD and sentenced to death in absentia, he ended up fleeing the city where he committed suicide beyond the city walls. This sparked a 4-way civil war for the throne as various members of the aristocracy and the Senate vied for power. However, this was compounded by the fact that there were no less than 5 people claiming to be Nero reborn, demanding to take back the throne. They were, of course, swiftly executed, but they did bring a significant amount of confusion to the proceedings, as boy did they have some followers. So, Craig, you chose the category. Dawar, you get to choose first. Which is a lie? We are going to lock in the answers first, and then we'll get into your explanation after.
I'm locking in answer number 1.
Locking in answer number 1. All right, Craig, how about you?
I'll go with 1 too.
What makes you? What makes you think that? I would just say Xerxes wasn't having the sea whipped for knocking down his bridge.
Because that seems so ludicrously silly. Also, cartoon bridges. That sounded weird.
Pontoon.
Yeah.
That's entirely fair.
I can see corporal punishment on a pear tree, though. Like that's dude. I would do that.
That's your end point, though. I would say pear trees, yes. The sea, no.
Sea's rude.
Exactly. It seems a dick move. How about you, Craig? Why do you think that again?
It just didn't make sense as much. Well, it made sense, but it was just ridiculous. They're all kind of ridiculous, but like all of them have this thing where you can see it makes sense, but the first one just didn't have that.
Well, it is a land of sun, sand, history, and maniacs. All right, we've locked it in, and unfortunately, you both are wrong.
Oh, gee.
It was number 3. It was number 3.
Yay, we failed together. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, no. There is a lot of people that will just like, hey, great, I'm the king. Follow me. And apparently a lot of people will. But not all at the same time. They bade their time. They bade their time a little bit. Dawar, now it's your turn. Celebrity names, dead presidents and those around them, the warmest place with ice in the name, and of course, the grab bag.
Grab bag. Let's do it.
All right, you just want to know what's in there. That is
Yeah, it's called the goddamn grab bag.
Sold. All right. It's called the goddamn grab bag for a reason. So, let's find out. In 1940, to promote their new movie called Pinocchio, their second movie ever, Disney hired some little people to dress as Pinocchio and wave at people at the premiere. They left them on the balcony of the theater with enough food and wine for the day, but by late afternoon, all of the little people were naked, as the costumes were made of wool, and it was very, very hot out in California. They were also incredibly drunk and screaming swear words at passersby and at moviegoers while playing cards. Policemen with ladders were sent up to bring them back down with pillowcases, covering their modesty. Number 2. Famed baseball player Babe Ruth was, in addition to being spectacularly... Oh yeah, no, let that sink in. Let that sink in.
It's just, that was such a... I've never heard anything like that.
And there's a 2/3 chance it might be true. Number 2. Famed baseball player Babe Ruth was, in addition to being spectacularly good at baseball, a man who liked to keep souvenirs of his accomplishments. So, when he hit his 500th and 600th home runs, he managed to get a hold of the baseballs that were knocked out of the park and kept them on display in his house. So, when he hit home run number 700, when his team, the New York Yankees, were playing the Detroit Tigers in Detroit, he expected to be able to do the same thing. However, nobody could find the ball in the stadium. Perturbed, Ruth hired a private investigator to try and determine who may have retrieved the ball. After a week of checking admissions and ticket stubs, the investigator found that the ball had been caught by Mickey Rollins, an out-of-work plumber who had gotten the ticket from a friend. Rollins mentioned that he would be willing to sell the ball to Ruth, and Ruth was so invested in this that he skipped a game against the Philadelphia Athletics to travel back to Detroit and negotiate the sale of the ball. The Yankees fined him $1,000 for the missed game, but Ruth considered the mission a success. Number 3. Cowboy Bob was a famous criminal known for robbing banks without a weapon and escaping within 60 seconds each time. The cops eventually caught Bob, who turned out to be a middle-aged woman in a hat, sunglasses, and a fake beard named Peggy Jo Tallis. The first time the police knocked at her door, they were convinced she was hiding a male accomplice. Even after finding the beard and hat in her closet, they kept asking her where she was hiding, quote, the man. Tallis served out her prison sentence, and once she was released, immediately decided to rob another bank. All right, Dawar, you chose the category. So, Craig, which one of these is the lie?
Damn. Okay, because this one's really hard. Can you remind me what the first one is, please?
The first one is about the little people dressed as Pinocchio that got...
Okay, that one. Because if you made that one up, I would almost... it would almost be too much for the competition. It's so ridiculous and absurd that I don't think you made that up for this tournament. So that's definitely true. And it's between the Babe Ruth thing, which really sounds true. I'm going to go with the lie being the third one.
All right, you're going with the lie being the third one. All right, Dawar.
Okay, so the Cowboy Bob thing,
Yep.
I actually know about. So.
Oh my God, Dawar.
It's number 2. It has to be number 2. There's the midgets thing I can see happening. It has to be number 2.
All right, so you're that confident. You're that confident in it. All right.
Can we consider that cheating if he knows if he's actually aware of the answer?
Read, dude. I read.
If someone actually knows the answer to a question, is that against the rules?
No, that's just a very, 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 very lucky happenstance.
Dude, it's advantages of insomnia.
But Dawar, please refrain from answering correctly on any of the next questions,
all right,
please.
Captain. I can do that much.
Oh God, it's the authoritative baritone again.
Sorry, that went into my less baritone.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, ooh, you hit tenor there for a second. You hit tenor there, my God. All right. I would say you've locked them both in, and Dawar, you are on the board. I was just going to say the Babe Ruth one is a lie. He just bought it off the kid for $20 and autographed a kid for $20 and just autographed another baseball.
That makes sense, actually. I was like, who's skipping a game for a freaking hunting down?
I mean, he's also like, no, he found that kid. Like he found that kid. There was some dedication, but
that is true. That is fair.
Yeah. He found the kid, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I wonder how much it's worth now. That would be good to know.
Oh,
actually.
God, I was just going to say, I'm sure an obscene amount of money.
Yeah.
An obscene amount of money.
All
right. Craig, we've now got celebrity names, dead presidents and those around them, and the warmest place with ice in the name.
I'll take the celebrities.
All right, we're going with celebrity names. All right, statement number 1. Katy Perry started life as Catherine Hudson, born into a family of 2 Pentecostal pastors who spent a significant portion of her childhood traveling around the United States as her parents set up churches. When she was 17, she released her first self-titled album of Christian music. After lackluster reviews and only selling about 200 copies, she turned to secular music. Not wanting to be confused with the actress Kate Hudson, she changed her stage name based off of her mother's maiden name and became Katy Perry. Number 2. Kate Hudson, the actress, started life out as Catherine Hahn, keeping her mother's maiden name for her last name. Given that her mother was Goldie Hawn, a famous comedic actress, Hudson did not want to be accused of riding on her mother's coattails and name, so she changed her stage name from Catherine Hahn to Kate Hudson, keeping her estranged father's last name. Number 3. Famed Western star John Wayne started life as Marion Robert Morrison. After getting his collarbone shattered in a body surfing incident, his plans of going to university on a football scholarship ended, so he got a series of odd jobs around the Universal movie lot, acting as an extra or moving boxes around sets, whichever was needed. Director Raoul Walsh saw him moving furniture around the set and cast him immediately as his lead actor in The Big Trail. However, Marion Morrison wasn't a name that was going to fly in 1930 for a macho leading man, so Walsh and the studio executive in charge eventually settled on John Wayne as a stage name. John Wayne himself wasn't privy to this discussion and only found out when he returned to work the next day that his name was, in fact, now going to be changed. Daver.
Shit. Okay, hold on. This is hard. Okay, I'm down to 2. You don't want an explanation yet?
Not yet. I would say just need an answer.
Yeah, I kind of broke that rule last round too. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
I'm gonna lock in number 2.
You're going to lock in number 2. All right, which one do you think is the lie? Katy Perry, Kate Hudson, or John Wayne?
Okay, I'm going to go, just because I don't think they're estranged, I'm going to go with number 2.
All right, you're both locking in number 2. All right, Daver, what made you think that Kate Hudson, that isn't how Kate Hudson got her name?
Okay, I'll be completely honest with you. So the Katy Perry thing, I just knew that she did like church shit
Yes.
originally. So that's my like, okay, maybe this is true.
That was
Yeah,
a way
fair.
better phase, way better phase of her music, in my opinion.
Oh, there you go. And it sounded believable, like really, really believable, which is what scares me. But anyways. And then the John Wayne thing sounded absolutely ludicrous to me. It sounded really weird. But honestly, Marion does sound like a girl's name, so I can see why he would want to change that. So
Oh, no, he didn't want to
process-
change it. He just showed up to work one day. Hey, you're John Wayne now. Put on this hat.
Oh, okay. See, I misunderstood that as well.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, I misunderstood. Well, allegedly, that's what happened. Yes, okay.
Yeah,
But
we'll
I went
find
with
out.
number
We'll find
2
out.
because my gut was telling me number 3, and last time my gut was wrong on almost every answer. So, like, boom, number 2.
I think that might be the catchphrase of this tournament. Don't trust your gut.
Yeah, that's it's not been helping me. So
All right. Well, congratulations, Craig and Daver. I was just going to say, Craig, you're on the board, and Daver, you have maintained your lead. You are correct.
wow, very nice.
Yeah. I would say Kate Hudson was Kate Hudson from the beginning.
Oh, she was just born Kate Hudson.
Yeah, just born Kate Hudson.
Also,
Yeah.
like, who would want to change that name? You know, Hudson's
Yeah.
Bay. You know, Kate Hudson. You're so Canadian. Is she Canadian?
No,
her
she's not Canadian. But,
Oh, her
God
dad's
damn
a
it,
dickhead.
never mind.
Oh, no, her
Well,
dad's a dickhead. Don't get me wrong. Just
no,
saying.
her dad, isn't her dad Kurt Russell?
No. That's her adopted. I would say, like, that's her adopted father. Like, that's not by blood.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Look at wow.
See, we all learn things.
Yeah,
during these.
what explain?
That's what I'm. That's what I'm.
Explain.
That's what I'm. Well, that's kind of what I'm here for. I mean, right now. Like 90% of the time, that's what I'm here for. Right now, it's to actively mess with you guys, but you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right. Daver, you've got a choice between dead presidents and those around them to the warmest place with ice in the name.
So let's go with dead presidents.
Dead presidents. All right. Statement number 1. Abraham Lincoln's son, Robert Todd Lincoln, was present or nearby at 3 different presidential assassinations. He was nearby at the White House when his father was shot by John Wilkes Booth. He was an eyewitness when James Garfield was shot, given that he was serving as Garfield's Secretary of War at the time, and he was at the Pan American Expo at the same time that William McKinley was shot. After that event, he was said to have refused a later presidential invitation with the comment, "No, I'm not going, and they better not ask me, because there is a certain fatality about presidential functions when I am present." Number 2. U.S. President Andrew Jackson owned an African gray parrot named Pole. It was originally meant as a gift for Jackson's wife, Rachel, but when she passed, he became the bird's caretaker. After Jackson became the bird's caretaker, it became infamous for its use of foul language, which it used with great gusto whenever there was anyone around. Given that parrots learn by mimicry and that Jackson was a notoriously temperamental man, the reason for the cursing bird seems a little bit clear. On June 8th, 1845, Jackson passed away from unknown complications. Thousands gathered to pay their respects, including Pohl, who squawked, squeaked, and swore like a sailor. According to the priest presiding over the funeral, the bird was excited by the multitude and let loose perfect gusts of cuss words. People were horrified and awed at the bird's lack of reverence, the priest continues, and had to be removed from the funeral. Statement number 3. After the assassination of John F. Kennedy, there was a frenetic amount of activity and decision-making over who had to deal with what regarding the former president's responsibilities and inheritance. While most of the responsibilities went to Vice President Lyndon Johnson, and the inheritance went to his wife Jackie and his children, there was one sticking point. What to do with JFK's curmudgeonly cat, Tom Kitten. Tom Kitten was widely known for only liking one person, John F. Kennedy. Everyone else was treated as the greatest of enemies, and nobody in the Kennedy family wanted to deal with a feral cat. A decision was made when Robert F. Kennedy, JFK's brother, gifted the cat to his daughter Kathleen. Even afterwards, whenever Robert Kennedy made appearances, his handlers would need to subtly apply makeup to hide the cat scratches on his arms and neck. All right, Dawar, you chose the category. So, Craig, you get to choose which is, I was just going to say, which you think is the lie.
I think the last one's the lie.
You think the last one's the lie? All right, we're gonna lock you in for that one. Dawar?
I also think the last one's a lie.
All right, Craig, what makes you think that there, I was just gonna say that there isn't just a feral cat that JFK had to deal with?
Well, it was just again, it was one of those you told us earlier not to trust our gut. But I think you are trying to. I think that's a curveball as the host. I think what you're trying to say there is trust your gut. So I'm going to go. Well, that's it. I already said number 3, so that's it.
All right, Dawar. What makes you think that that JFK didn't have a cat that hated everyone else?
Because Tom Kitten is a ridiculous name, and I don't want to believe that that is a real thing. So that was my decision making.
You know what? I was just going to say you are both correct, but Dawar,
yes.
that is his cat's actual name.
Fuck.
That there is in fact JFK owned a cat named Tom Kitten.
That hurts the soul.
But you guys are both correct.
Kitten.
Tom Kitten.
There's a TV show called like Tom Cat.
Yes, yes, there is. Yes, there is.
So I'm like, did the kitten turn into a cat now? Like,
We're going to get a cat, and we're going to call him Tom Kitten.
That's not an impression you get to roll out often, is it, Craig? That's incredible.
I was going to say, I feel like I should be deducted a point for that one. The reasoning was so bad.
Listen, you got the answer right, even if you were wrong in how you got there. That's where it is. That's where it is. All right.
Degrees. All right, moving on.
The score is 3-2 going into the final category. The warmest place with ice in the name. And since I would say, Craig, technically, I would say this would be your quote-unquote pick, so Dawar gets to go first in the selection.
Can I pick it, please?
Sure.
So what's the what are my selections, please?
No. I was saying, as in, like, there's only one left.
Exactly, but I'd like the opportunity to pick it if
right,
if you will.
You're right. Your apology, Craig. Your choice is the warmest place with ice in the name.
All right, Can you repeat the choices, please?
Oh, absolutely. Here, give me a second. It is the warmest place with ice in the name, the warmest place with ice in the name, or the warmest place with ice in the name?
All right, I'll take the warmest place with ice in the name.
Excellent choice.
No, not that one.
I know that was the I took the hardest one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I know. Listen, harder difficulty is good, but you've got a point to make up, so that's the time for it.
Oh, actually, that's a good point.
All right, statement number 1. Iceland has a population of about 330,000, with more than 2/3 of the population living around the capital of Reykjavik. With such a small population in a small space, and with such a homogeneous population with little immigration over the last century, it comes as no surprise that most Icelanders are distantly related. In order to keep the dating game strong and without any surprises down the road, Icelanders have developed a mobile app called Islendinga app, in reference to Islendingabrok, or the Book of Icelanders, a website that lists all Icelanders since the first immigrants in the 11th century and lists the ways in which everyone is related throughout the decades. It is the second most downloaded social application in Iceland over the last 3 years. The most downloaded? Tinder. Number 2. One of the more unique methods used in creating a tasty baked good comes from Iceland, where locals will in fact use newly found hot springs to bake bread. The people will dig a hole in the ground near the hot springs and bury a pot with rye bread dough in it for 24 hours, and then unearth it for some tasty warm bread the next day. Some of the hot springs in Iceland can be up to 100 degrees Celsius, making them hazardous for people to walk into, but they can cook an egg in 10 minutes. Listen, you take what I was saying, you take the benefits where you can. Number 3. There are more sheep than people in Iceland, so as a result, it leads to a unique tradition. Every fall, Icelandic sheep herders have to go up into the mountains to retrieve the sheep after a summer of grazing and bring them back to their farms for the winter. Over 800,000 sheep are sorted in a retir, an ancient Icelandic tradition where a circular-shaped pen is used to sort the sheep back into their herds. The trick is, the sheep absolutely do not wish to be caught. So, there's always a few stubborn sheep that refuse to go back to their farmer, so there is an additional event that happens when the farmers end up finagling an unwilling sheep into the pens. Never.
Oh my god, this is hard. I want the bread thing to be true, even though I'm debating that might be the lie. Sheep thing makes sense based on everything else you said. So number 1 is lie.
Number 1 is the lie. All right.
I'm going to go with number 3 is the lie.
All right. Darren's locked in number 1. Craig's locked in number 3.
I'm actually nervous.
Daver, what makes you think the Islendinga app, I would say being the second most downloaded thing, is the lie?
Only that it's the second most downloaded. Like, I don't think that the app is fake because honestly, I can believe, in a small place like that with a small population, that you might have the risk of running into your cousin way back when.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Craig, what makes you think number 3?
Well, I'm actually nervous now because I totally ignored, I thought the app made sense. So I was just like, that's true. And I kind of ignored the whole, it's the number 2 downloaded. So now I'm nervous. And why I thought number 3 was the lie was just because it sounded very true.
I've done a number on you, haven't I, Craig?
you now, I went from following my gut to completely refusing my gut, and yeah,
I've just done a number on you.
You have.
All right, so we've locked in, and the results are number 1 is the lie.
Thank God. Wait, why is it the lie though? Is it because of the second most downloaded thing, or is it something else?
No, it's actually a fair bit. It's actually a fair bit down. They've got Facebook, they've got Twitter. But yeah, no. I was just gonna say the Tinder thing is just like, yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds.
But it is a real app.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. It's a widely used one. It's a widely used one in Iceland. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as high up as like your Facebook, your Twitter. I'm trying to remember if Reddit was up there, but yeah, no, I was just gonna say that was it. And in that case, I can congratulate Daver.
Oh, yay. Craig, if you hadn't asked him to repeat it, I wouldn't have picked up on the fact that you re-emphasized second most downloaded. So thank you for that.
Well, it's fine. Today I lost 3 games of chess, and now this. So yeah, it's like I'm on a streak of some sort.
Dude, that means right streak's got to end soon. So
Exactly.
thereby, buy a lottery ticket and the streak will end, and you'll be like, "Whoa!"
It's going to be
you know?
amazing. I'm so excited to buy that lottery ticket and win. It's crazy.
Do it. And if you lose, then wasn't me.
Yep. Don't trust the mysterious Albertan that tells you to put your money into lottery. I would say into lottery tickets. I don't know what to tell you about this. Listeners at home, if a mysterious man from Alberta tells you to put all your money into lottery tickets, don't listen. Don't do it.
I'm really glad I didn't say all your money, but
I don't know, man. I don't trust it. All right. Well, I was just going to say thank you both for coming out, and we will see what happens in the semifinals. I'm Braden Thorvaldson, and have a good rest of your night, everybody. Eventually, we'll get out of Madison Square Garden, but until they kick us out, have a good night.